Hello, football fanatics. I'm Ann, your no-nonsense, slightly biased but fair sportscaster who believes defense wins championships.
And I'm Kay, the voice of reason, or at least the guy who pretends to be, while secretly panicking about every missed tackle. Together on Epic Sports Shenanigans, we dissect the Premier League like it's a crime scene. Right now, the title race just got robbed.
Premier League champions, Manchester City or Arsenal? Buckle up because the plot just thickened like a bad plot twist in a soap opera.
Arsenal took a huge step, didn't they, to winning their first title in a very long time with that win that we saw against Brighton yesterday. Manchester City, though, dropping points. They only manage a 2-2 draw against lowly old Nottingham Forest.
But Arsenal, Lee, once again, got the job done. And you feel in terms of this title race, the gap now 7 points, that tonight might be the turning point for Arsenal in ending this long wait.
Yeah, I think so. I mean,
Why has Arsenal taken the lead again? What are Arsenal doing so effectively?
his team were solid. They were compact. They were hard to break down. You completely say that the two different complexes of the sides is that Arsenal have got that doggy deep defending, haven't they?
What it does, it takes a lot of pressure off Arsenal for that match in particular now. And knowing how Arsenal have done it so far, they do not need to go and win that game now.
And also the League Cup final as well. So we talk about the psychological impact of, say, being beaten in that. It just eases the pressure on that one a little bit as well.
Absolutely, which I think fits in with what they've done. And listen, we all sit here and say they've got to be more convincing, but actually, whatever level you're playing at, you know, to go and win a league, you actually sometimes finally get more belief from these types of wins tonight when you haven't been at your best and you grind one out. And the more you do that over the course of a season, you sort of come off out the dressing room. You actually look at yourself sometimes, how did we win that tonight?
You know, and you've got to say that the consistency they can show, being able to grind out a result away to Brighton like we saw yesterday, they're very deserving of it.
Who has control over their own destiny, Man City or Arsenal?
And listen, all that matters, we can talk about being unconvincing as long as we like. The only thing that will matter to an Arsenal fan tonight is the top of that table. They'll see a 7-point lead. And crucially, because heading into tonight, the gap was 5 points. It was in both of their hands because, of course, they meet in a few weeks' time. It's now in Arsenal's hands.
Because I thought, you know, maybe there's still time for City to do this and do that. But then I looked at the league table. Arsenal's played 30 games. I'm not sure why they've played that extra game. But it's 8 games left. 8 games left for them to win a league title, and they can afford to drop points now. Whereas before, it was almost like they were on that tightrope. I think it was themselves and City. Whichever team would have won all their games between now and the end of the season, they'd have been champions. But now, it's very much back in Arsenal's hands.
The team with the most consistency will win this Premier League title. Who is more consistent, Arsenal or Man City?
Yeah, Manchester City not good enough, not consistent enough. I thought there was going to be a bit of a run. Obviously, recently they've been very good across multiple competitions. They were excellent actually in their Premier League. I think they won 6 in a row or 5 in a row. I know they won a couple of FA Cup games in between against Newcastle and Salford. But City have looked good and they've looked better. They've won games consistently. But my biggest problem is the inconsistency. I love the question from the reporter right there saying dropping points from winning positions. That's nowhere near good enough for Manchester City. You simply cannot afford that. You're in a title race. So to answer your question, I am sticking by my guns and saying that Arsenal are already champions of the Premier League.
I think from a City perspective, or any side that wants to win a Premier League title, if you're going to take the lead twice, especially at home, it shouldn't really matter who you're playing against. You should be able to see that over the line. And there's a massive boost for, say, Arsenal's title credentials.
And Arsenal, albeit not thoroughly entertaining, are finding ways to simply put points on the board and get it done. I think it's over.
Defensively, City look leakier than a sieve in a rainstorm. That lead could balloon past 7 before the big showdown at the Etihad. Imagine Arsenal strolling in, knowing they don't even need to win. Just don't lose spectacularly.
You mentioned the backline for Manchester City and how many issues they've had. Nottingham Forest, before this match, in the last 3 matches, had 66, not on target, 66 total shots, 1 goal. Today, 9 total shots, 2 goals. So that goes to show you that this back line is clearly in shambles when it comes to certain games, certain moments where they just kind of turn off. And it happened in this game against Nottingham Forest.
Big time. But I do think that Manchester City are their own enemy. I think defensively, Guehi and Diaz, a lot of people have been talking about how this is going to be the best central defensive pairing in the Premier League. I mean, think again. I mean, it is so suspect defensively because of Ait Nouri and Nunes playing right back. The fullbacks are not fullbacks. They go forward. So it leaves the 2 centre-backs completely exposed. Rodri's not a defensive midfielder anymore. He's a Ballon d'Or winner who wants to score more goals than everybody else who plays on the team. So City leave themselves suspect.
Right now, Arsenal seems more likely to be Premier League champions. Who is better equipped, Arsenal or Man City?
This side, again, proving that we mentioned style points don't matter. They don't get really a ton going forward, but this back line is special, the way that they play, and just do not concede goals on a consistent basis, that's what's going to get them across the line in this competition and maybe multiple trophies, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think Arteta's learned his lesson that you don't have to be exhilarating and entertaining to win the Premier League. And I think right now there is not a competitor who's good enough to be able to compete with this Arsenal. They're simply winning games by 1-0. If you look at what they've done this campaign, Arsenal have now won 10 Premier League games by a 1-goal margin. That's all it takes. Get the winner, sit back, defend, and create opportunities when you can on the counter-attack.
But the fact that City can win all their games and still finish second, I think that shows how significant that result was yesterday, because that wasn't the case before the game started.
Sometimes you need to win games an ugly way just to get over the finishing line. I think Arsenal are already champions, full stop. I don't see anyone competing with them. Right now, there's not a team in the race.
So who do you think lifts the Premier League trophy this season? Manchester City clawing back like champions of old, or Arsenal finally ending the drought? Drop your bold predictions, hottest takes, and funniest memes in the comments below. We read every single one.
If you love this chaos, smash that subscribe button so you never miss an episode of Epic Sports Shenanigans. Hit like if Arsenal's lead has you buzzing. Share with your rival. The title race gets even wider. Comment now. Your hot take could be featured.